I don't know where I'm going to put this. Right there? Can't see both of us. Can you see both of us? We're going to have to move closer together. That's okay.
There we go. Cool. Let me check something quick.
Oops. Kick the microphone. Actually, I think I'm going to move this back. Hi, everyone. About to interview Calvin Simpson.
Woo!
Woo! There he is. And we're also live on YouTube, which is a new thing for me.
I think we're live.
Oh, we are live now on YouTube. There we are. I'll show y'all. It's kind of funny. Is it working?
We'll go with it. I think so, maybe.
Thanks for your patience. All right. I have an exciting list of questions for Calvin, which, there's one hair sticking up here, which you're all going to be really excited to hear about. He's been working on some really cool stuff. I met with him last week. We had this conversation, and I came away from it like, wow, we need to have this conversation again, with my hair looking a little better, which didn't work out, and let everybody know what's going on with him. So, Calvin.
Let's into it.
We met almost a year ago. We met through my business coach, Mike, and we met in kind of a mastermind session. And as I've got to know more about you, I've been really excited about everything that you're working on. You wrote a book. You published your book before I even met you.
I think one of the best things is in your book, the copy you signed to me, you said the race is on for the second one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote in his book.
And you've already started.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's debatable. But what I wanted to talk about today is what you've got going on in starting up in January. But before we do that, I want everybody to understand why you're so awesome, because that's really important. If people don't know who you are and where you've come from, they're probably not going to be interested in anything that you're doing. But you have a really cool story. So where did you grow up?
Leduc, Alberta. And I was just going to say, people, unless they know your story, right, there's not that connection there. So it's always very important for people to be actually talking about their story. But yeah, I grew up in Leduc. Spent about 2 years in Edmonton living there, then came to Calgary shortly after, and it's been about 3 years now. And
so your career path since high school, give us a quick overview of that.
Yeah, for sure. So I came out of school, went directly into NAIT and took instrumentation, and it was great. I highly recommend everyone when they come out of their high school, if they have any sort of inkling towards a college, university, get into it, even if you don't know what you're going to take. So I got in, or don't know what you want to do for your entire life, because who actually knows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's experimentation. So I came out, got into instrumentation, and then from there I spent the 2 years, and it was a fantastic time. Highly recommend the program. Came out of that, and then I was involved in technical safety for about 3 years, and really just found that, well, it was actually 5 years. There was 2 different jobs in there, but really found that there was a piece of me that was looking into the future about 10, 15 years, and really thought, hey, is this what I want to do for that amount of time? And the answer was more or less no. Like, that 5 years in, there was still that piece missing. So if it's missing 5 years in, 20, 30 years from now, I'm sure it's just going to be that much bigger. And so for myself, I just really started experimenting with things at that point.
So if you could say one thing as a piece of advice to someone who is maybe in that position where they've been to PostSecondary school, they've trained in a particular field, and they're not loving it.
Yeah.
They're not finding fulfillment in it. They're worried about having to do it for a long time. What's the number one thing you would say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So reading is massive, 100%. I get this question all the time, and it's a tough one. I haven't really known how to answer it, because who knows what they want to do. Even now, it's still experimenting, getting out there, trying new things. And I think that is also another key piece to it. Get into reading a lot, explore what you like, and then from there just start experimenting, start actually creating stuff and going out and seeing what sticks. I created the book, came out in April, but that was really my first venture outside of work, and it was a complete blast throughout the entire process. And if I would have guessed where I'd be at today, 100% would have had no idea at that point in time. But that is also another thing that everyone needs to keep in mind, is just go with things as they come, have a plan, but things are going to change over time, and embrace it. Have fun.
And so, absolutely have fun. And that ties into what I was just going to ask you. Just kind of confirm for everybody the common theme of your book, because I think that it's definitely about having fun and smiling and having great people skills. And a big part of having great people skills is smiling and having fun. So just kind of give us a quick synopsis of your book.
Yeah, for sure. So the book, really where it's focused on, I'm definitely a deep thinker in that for me, really got me to the place of what's success in life. So when I'm in this career and I had a brief goal out of college to make 6 figures within 5 years. Eclipsed that. It's not a hard thing to do in Alberta, and there was still just this huge piece missing for me, thinking, hey, you know what? I had this goal, but the goal sucked. It was good that I hit it, but there's more to it. So yeah, coming back around to the point, I totally forgot what we were just talking about.
Well, we were just talking about the fact that I wanted, the fact is that
success,
I think your book is about what I just said, but I don't know if that's a fact.
So yeah, for me, I started thinking deeper and looking into, hey, like what ultimately for me when I'm 60 what am I going to think has been a good life when I'm looking back over time. Hey, Deanna's online. When I'm looking back when I'm 60, I want to be able to understand that I really gave it my all. I put everything into it, and I was doing stuff that I enjoyed. At that point in time, I absolutely enjoyed what I was doing, but looking forward to 60, I thought, hey, if I'm sitting in a rocking chair looking backwards, what's success going to be? So I started really looking into it, and for me, where success had always been in a day or during a week was just ultimately how much fun I'd had in that week. So the quality and quantity of smiles that we've generated over a lifetime. And the book has the final section is actually about community, and community is so very important to us. Mm-hmm. When I talk about the quality and quantity of smiles generated over a lifetime, it sounds great, and that's where the book really comes about, to daily actionable advice that you can take in and do. And so community is a massive piece of that. When anyone really takes the time to think right now what the best times of my life have been, it's very rare that you were alone. 100% very rare that you're alone. It's most likely you had a bunch of amazing people in your life experiencing something that was just joyous to all of you, and can be filled with a lot of things, more purposeful, meaningful, whatever it may be. But yeah, community is a huge piece of it. And if you don't have the people skills or the communication skills to go out there and bring new people into your life, you're never going to live that amazing life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I was just writing about this the other day, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about your Fab Five, about the 5 people you spend the most time with. What would you say are the number one sort of things to look for in someone that you would consider to be one of your Fab Five?
Yeah, for sure. It comes around to a bit of the training. So in week 1 with people skills, what we're looking at is who do we enjoy the most, or who do we love the most? Yeah. And the number one person is ourselves. The second person is people who are like us or who we want to become. Yeah. So what I'm always encouraging people to do is just pick some sort of superhero rock star out there, whether it's Richard Branson, Oprah. Look why you're drawn to those sort of people, then just pull the characteristics out for what they have of who you actually want to bring into your life. So let's say you admire Richard Branson for building companies. We'll go out there and start looking to bring people into your My Five who've done something very similar while maintaining his lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So it's not so much just hey, I want to go out and meet as many people as possible. It's about quality as well. Okay.
Let's see who's on here. I know a few of these people that are watching right now are making career transitions, or are basically kind of, they're just at a point in their life where there's a fork in the road, and they're kind of like, which way do I want to go? So for you, it must have been hard to leave like a career that was definitely, traditionally considered to be a really good career, and go out and follow your heart and take a risk. Like, how did you finally make that decision? Yeah,
for sure. So a lot of the time people look at it like it's point A to point B. So one day it comes along, it's like, you know what, I'm just going to switch over to this. It's an entire culmination of, it's probably about 3 years now, 2 to 3 years of getting out there experimenting on, hey, what value can I bring to the world? And ultimately you have to get paid for what you're doing as well. So what can I bring to the world that people are willing to pay for and improve on in their life? And I think that's one of the most important pieces. But yeah, that hopping over, it's definitely a scary thing, but as long as you do that preparation work up front and you have the people there, the support network, the community to actually go out, you've tested your ideas, that's the biggest stepping stone for me and also that you enjoy stuff as well. Yeah. Was there a particular person or book or mastermind group that you were a part of that gave you that push to move into this? Yeah, honestly, masterminds were a huge part of it, but reading some of my favorite books over time all have to do with human decision making or people making decisions. Dan Ariely, Predictably Irrational, is right near the top of my list. Okay. It's a great one, and it really covers a lot of our fears in life, and some of that irrational decision making that we're actually thinking about, and a lot of the time it comes to loss aversion is a good one. So I know so many people, and there's probably people that will even see this, that are hating their job but fearing losing it. So to me, that is just one of the most backward concepts in life, but we can all appreciate someone we know hates their job but fears losing it, and that really comes down to we hate losing things once we've got them in life. One of the best examples they've ever done is they gave monkeys 2 apples, and then, or they gave one monkey 1 apple and another monkey 2 apples, and they took the one monkey away from the one apple away from the monkey that had 2 apples, and it absolutely freaks out. And when they look at the emotional condition of the other one that just had 1 apple, like, it was so happy.
Yeah.
The net result is the same, but when you look at losing things in your life, that's really what it comes down to, and it can be super scary. But having an understanding that, hey, do I really want to be hating something that I'm going to and fearing losing it, whether it's a relationship in your life or a bad career, where that's really where I focus on, hey, understand that we have that loss aversion, and look how much better things can be in life, and do a bunch of planning around it, be able to work at it over time, and then plan your exit more or less.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you talked about the monkeys, because, and this ties in with the Fab Five, the monkeys that are all they're all hanging out, and then there's like a tall pole, and there's bananas at the very top of the pole, and the monkeys try to climb up to get it, and they fall down, and eventually, the monkeys are just like, a new monkey that's never been in there before is like, hey, there's bananas up there, you weirdos, why are you going to get them? And so he tries to climb up, and the other monkeys will literally just pull him down and be like, don't even try. And so I think with our Fab Five, the monkey stories kind of tie into that too, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
100%.
Who's around you? Are they encouraging you and saying, yeah, give it a shot, we didn't succeed, or we've never tried, but you should totally do it? Or are they pulling you down and being like, don't take a risk, you might fail? Like, yeah
100%. I love that, and it comes up all the time. Is you have the people in your life, and especially when you start looking at transitioning away from things, you'll see people who, it's great to have kind of the downside, or what can I lose, but when people are way too focused on that of, hey, why are you going away from something, look at all this stuff you have to lose, and they're not thinking about what you can gain or where you can actually go and what it's going to mean for you. It's so incredibly important to have people in your life that are going to be cheering you on. So can you imagine waking up every single day, and your kind of my five says, hey, what are you doing today? Or they remember that, hey, you have a big business meeting today, you're pitching someone new, and they say, hey, you know what, you're going to go out there, you're absolutely going to rock this, whether maybe you're writing a book for the first time, like, go do it. It's so amazing for you to actually go do this. And other people will think, why are you doing this? You shouldn't do it, and try and hold you back from those great things. And those people ultimately shouldn't be in your My Five as far as I'm concerned. But the important distinction that I make, I always compare it to NASCAR. So you have people who are in your pit crew, which you need to give you those directions in life. And then there's people who are just going to be watching you in the race of life. So those people, don't just kick them out of your life, because granted, you've probably had relationships with these people for 10 to 15 years, which are absolutely fantastic and invaluable. Where you're looking at shifting is just stop taking advice on moving forward from them. Still spend time with them, have that quality time together, and have those relationships. Don't just kick them out the window because they're important to you. So that's the distinction that you'll hear some people say, well, get rid of everyone in your life who's not supporting you. Start spending less time with them, and stop really asking them for advice in your life, more or less, of, hey, should I go this direction? Because you want those people who are cheerleaders and who are going to support you in that more pit crew position.
So Calvin and I, just to give you a little more backstory, Calvin and I kind of came into each other's lives because of a mastermind session that we were both at, and I was like, oh my gosh, you just finished writing a book, and at that point I hadn't finished my book yet, and so we went for coffee, and I just started to sort of discover that he was doing some pretty big stuff. He was doing a lot of self-discovery. He was giving a lot of his time and effort to others through creating courses and programs and things like that. And so I've just kind of been sitting back and watching him for about the last 6 months.
What's he gonna do?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, and every time I talk to him, I'm kind of like, hey, so what are you doing? Like, I know you're doing lots of stuff, but like, what are you doing? Because I've just been waiting for the moment to be able to do what I'm doing right now and really share him with everyone and be like, here is someone who's about to offer something that can help you not only build your Fab Five, but just bring some new people into your life. I think we all go through periods of our lives where we hang out with the same people and we do the same things, and then we kind of want to, grow and change a little bit, and that can kind of be that monkey situation where sometimes you're like, okay, guys, like, I definitely want to keep you in my life, but I need some people that are going to cheer me on here, and some people who are maybe trying to accomplish some of the same things. So Calvin is launching something really cool, and I'm going to share with you guys right now, in January, and I really want you all to know about it, because I know a lot of people in my life that could definitely use this, and it comes down to building people skills and building relationships and building community, and that's essentially what Calvin has created. So sort of give us a little bit more of a backstory on how you finally decided to launch your first course.
Yeah, for sure. So it's definitely an exciting time. It's actually the first group of people are moving through tomorrow in week 1. So super excited for it, and where it really comes from, and my story, a bit that we probably missed at the start, why I have such a focus on people skills and why it's so important to me. So when I was growing up, I had a very, very terrible speech impediment. So I would be talking to adults, and I distinctly remember having conversations and an adult just looking at you like, what is this kid saying? And granted, I probably had no idea what I was saying, but the face that they gave me just really shut me down. And at that point, I always say, hey, I'm so thankful for my sister. All my communication probably up until about when I got into school was through my sister. I would talk to her if I needed anything. Heck, I even remember her friends were my friends, mostly up until kind of grade 4 sort of time. We'd go over to a friend's house who we knew really well, and I knew their parents, and I would still ask Jody for simple things like, hey, Jody, I need a water, and she would then ask the parent for me. So terrible self-confidence growing up because of that, and it's just a reminder that we have such an impact on kids in our life. Thanks for the thumbs up. We have such an impact on kids in our life that we need to remember that our actions towards them, they're very smart and they can understand that. So it had massive impact on me. I would never go back and change it. It's made who I am today. But that really had impact really through elementary, junior high, high school. Incredibly scared to walk into a room. And even just I would get read in a lot of conversation. Meeting new people would be something that was just completely out of my world. Definitely social anxiety in there. Come around to college, and that's really where I started reading, getting into books, and more of that self-development side. And that was really where I got hooked into more of that personal development, growth mindset, where I could actually go and I could learn something that wasn't taught in school. I always differentiate. There's professional development, which is more school-related. Then there's personal development, which is stuff expanding your mindset, expanding your life, getting rid of fears, that sort of thing. So personal development for me was actually being able to communicate with people. So it's the first time I actually read something in a book and was able to apply it in my life and see positive effects come out of it. So that's really where I got hooked. When your life actually improves because of something, you're going to love that.
Yeah.
So that's where I got into it. Spent about 8 years really diving into it. Things like NLP, conversational intelligence.
NLP.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Tell everybody what that is, because I didn't know.
Yeah, so it was developed back in the 70s, and really how they developed it was they looked at the best speakers and best communicators in the world, distilled it to a system of speech that we can actually use. So you'll hear it in sales a lot of the time, you'll hear it in presenters, and it's really just a very effective way of communicating with people. It's used a lot of the time in more of a therapy situation, but also it really helps for one-on-one conversation and how to understand how to communicate with others. The thing about it is it's pretty complex, and you'd probably need about 3 to 5 years to get very proficient with it. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at distilling the main concepts out of it and bringing it into my program to stuff that's very usable, because I think that's the most important. We can learn stuff that's great and complex, but if it takes us 3 years to learn it and be effective with it, it's really not that great of learning. It should be spent over a smaller amount of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the problem that I think most online courses, or the downfall of most online courses that I find, and I know a lot of you guys watching have taken some online courses, you'll probably agree with this, they're so short. They're either like 6 hours, or 2 weeks or 6 weeks or a month. Like Calvin's course is 6 months long.
Booyah!
It's 6 months long. And of course, the price tags on a lot of courses, the thought of a 6-month course would make you think it's going to be atrociously expensive. It's not. Because really, how do you build a sense of community? And how do you connect with people when you're with them in a sort of classroom setting for 6 hours or 3 weeks? You build a little bit of that, but nothing like what you'll build with Calvin's group, because I've been around a few of his friends, and I know he attracts amazing people. Obviously. And but 6 months, like, wow, like that's amazing.
Yeah, it's from the outside, it kind of sounds a bit scary, but what it is it's really just a commitment to your success. We don't take something that's a lot of online courses, you can take them pretty much over the span of a few hours, and you then go to implement it in your life, and you're more or less lost because you don't have people to talk to who've also taken the course, or you might not have connection back to that expert who taught you the material. So for myself, nothing really great happens over a month. Like, it takes a while. How long did it take you to write your book?
Well, I started January last year, and then, I published it in, like, September. So it was literally like having a human baby. It was 9 months of gestation period.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was not as painful, but in some ways, but in others it was. I have a baby for real, for those of you who think I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways.
So yeah, anything good takes time. So if you get into something, you learn it over a week and you try and implement it, you don't have support, you don't have community, you're going to fall on your face after that. So that's where it's so important for me. And I think all training should be that way. You should have that connection to who taught you for at least 6 months. They should be holding you accountable. My first month is to get you up to speed on skills. So it's very much like an online training program, but there's also 2 hours of one-on-one time, and there's unlimited phone calls, emails to me whenever you're struggling.
It's a good thing you don't have a wife and children, because they would probably kick you out. Because for the next year of your life, these people that are going to be in your course are going to be your life. And I know that you love that, and that's what is so great about it.
Yeah, 100%. And ultimately, you need people there. You need that support to see true growth in your life. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to break it down a little more for people into the kind of more of the key sort of features of your course. So number of people, for example, are you taking in a certain number of people each week?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm targeting 3 people in per week, just as a nice number to get people in and keep the community fresh. So when I'm talking about community, once you go through the program, you're introduced into a Facebook group that's very close. And so there's constantly going to be people coming into it, and why that's so great. We talked a bit about that My 5 at the start, and having people who are cheering for your success. Well, every single person who comes in, everyone's going to understand why you took the program. I'm going to go through qualification and even just a short video with you to say, hey, where are you looking to grow in 6 months? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to meet? And everyone in the community is going to understand that, and everyone's going to be cheering for you, rooting you on. So that's a huge portion of it. And having fresh people in every single week is very important to that, to keep the vibe going.
So can I just back it up for a second?
Yeah.
You said a video. So is that like an interview video like this? So potentially if they gave you permission later, you could use that as part of your marketing material. I just want to point out that this is kind of a pilot project for Calvin, and so some people might balk at that and think, oh, well, I want to take a course that's been around forever, and I want to take something that's proven to, but personally, I've always been an early adopter, and I'm the kind of person that loves to be part of something new and exciting, and I love to support people who are stepping out and doing something really unique. And so I hope that you can think about that a little bit too when you're analyzing this as maybe something you want to take part in 2017. Don't let the fact that this is Calvin's first course, don't let that throw you off. This is going to be amazing, and this is going to be at a price that is going to be low in the beginning, and then later it's not going to be low. And yeah, it's going to be something that you can be a part of that is brand new. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Important to mention too. So I've been involved with in-person education for the last 3 years, hosting courses. And this is really an evolution of where I see training going and where it should go. You can go sit for 3 to 5 days and I can teach you content, but then you're going to leave and you're going to be so overloaded and you might implement a few things in your life. Why it's going this focus is so you can fully implement and fully learn. It's very customized to you, which is incredibly important.
Very important. So about 3 people per week, what would be the max you would take on? 10?
Yeah, 10 will be about the max, just from a commitment side on my end. I want to make sure that it's still very one-on-one and can have a lot of intimate time with people as well. Okay.
And then what would be, give us kind of a snapshot of what the first week in this course would look like.
Yeah, for sure. So the first week, what it looks like is you get your intake form, and what the intake form looks like is everyone's coming in from a different baseline. So some people will have no issues going out meeting new people, but they just won't understand how to make deep relationships quick. Some people might be more focused on, hey, I want to meet some people online. There's different components to it, and where everyone comes in, I just get a baseline off of them. So let's say someone comes in and they have no issues going into a room and meeting people. They just don't know how to get to deep relationships and actually potentially ask for things off the back end. That will be the big growth point of where we're looking at actually getting to. Some people might come in from more of a social anxiety position. Well, they're going to have a different growth plan over those 5 months. So what it looks like is you fill out an intake form, And then we have conversations right off the bat that really just gets you into the flow of, hey, this is what week 1 is going to look like, 2, 3, and 4. And the ball starts rolling almost immediately, which is super important.
Awesome. Well, I feel like I've sort of checked all my questions off the list. Is there anything else that we wanted to share with everyone?
First of all, huge thanks to everyone for being on.
Yeah,
for that long.
look at
That
that.
was great.
That was awesome.
Spend all your time. As soon as I say the 5 to 2. Oh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, check Calvin out. Calvin Simpson, where can everybody find you?
Life is too short to not have amazing people in your life and not to go out there and grow.
Yeah.
What do you think life is too short to, Skeeter?
That's my brother, so just ignore
Nice.
him.
No way. That was awesome.
My brother, yeah, he is awesome, but you can still ignore
Yeah.
him because, yeah, he's one of those people that is
almost making
probably
me blush a little bit right
he's
now.
got more personality than anyone I know, and he definitely, yeah, he needs to share that a little more. So I'm glad he's on here.
Behind this. Life is too short to lean back. I was going to put on
You've
the
been
bottom.
leaning back the whole time. You should have been
Yeah.
like doing this. Everybody, wait, quick vote. Should Calvin be sitting forward or should he be leaning back?
Let me get nice and comfy.
Okay, somebody comment
Let's-
whether leaning back or leaning forward. Just say lean back or lean forward.
I was going to put life is too short to not smile in there.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Check
Yeah.
out Calvin. What did my brother say? Probably something super obnoxious.
It wasn't bad.
What did he say? I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't really know.
Okay, I feel like this was a fail.
It didn't work at all.